So by now, the statements that the director of Dragon's Dogma 2 made regarding fast travel have spread far and wide. That they don't like fast travel in their game because they think that anytime you use fast travel, it means that your game is boring. Now, there's some interesting thought process behind this because, on the one hand, the core of what they are saying in regards to the world needs to be big, but it also needs to have lots of things to do. I can also tell you from the game development side of things, if the world is big simply for the sake of being big, players will often feel overwhelmed by that size because there's too much to do. There's too much going on. Very much a case of, okay, I have a main quest, right? That's supposed to take me over here and do this, but along the way, I'm coming across 50, 60, 80 different things that could take my attention away from that main quest. And for a lot of players, that can be disconcerting at the very least. It can be distracting at the very worst. And for some people, it can pull them out and make them no longer immersed in the game because it feels too big. There's too much going on. What I do find interesting here is I'm flashing back to when Red Dead Redemption 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out. I think those were both around the same time. I don't remember the year. Was that 2017? It's a long time ago. I don't remember that well. But I do remember when those games came out, one of the things that everyone was talking about, all the media was talking about, was how awesome it was that these two games, these two massively open world RPGs, had the ability to turn the compass off and to go full immersion into the games and only rely on what the quest NPCs were telling you in terms of how to get to destinations. Now, both of those games had fast travel in them, and at no point in time did those games having fast travel make the world seem boring or smaller or in any way, shape, or form reduce the impact that those games had as massive open world RPGs. Especially in the case of like Red Dead Redemption 2, I would argue that you had stagecoaches, you had trains, you had lots of ways to get around, but you still did most of your exploration on horseback going from point A to point B because there were so many missions that you would do between. Because sometimes it's fun just to ride along the path and hunt some deer on your way, trap some serpents and rabbits and stuff, or go after some cougars and boars or bandits, you never know. So there's something to be said for the value of having a big world where there's lots going on. But let's just kind of analyze the statement here. And this is pulled from a greater interview. I just have this up visually because it looks the best in the background because many other websites have a ton of ads. This one still has ads, but do what you can. Saying here, weighing in on the debate, Dragon's Dogma's 2 director Hideaki Itsuno explained why he's keen to avoid making the game too easy, preferring that players travel normally and experience the world around them. He says, give it a try. You think travel is boring? That's not true. It's only an issue because your game is boring. Now that is a blanket statement that I feel is either being taken out of context by a lot of people or it was just something said in the spur of the moment that didn't have the intended effect that a lot of people are taking away from it. He says all you have to do is make travel fun, he told AGN in a new interview as part of our exclusive month-long IGN First coverage. Specifically saying, this is why you place things in the right direction for players to discover or come up with enemy appearance methods that create different experiences each time or force players into blind situations where they don't know whether it's safe or not 10 meters in front of them. Darkness is a good example of this. Darkness is really bad in Dragon's Dogma 2, and you can't see more than a few feet in front of you, and it creates this absolute emotion of tension at the very least. However, I would argue that it's not as simple as simply placing lots of things for players to do in front of them. Because this comes back to what I was discussing at the beginning of the video, which is some players are going to feel overwhelmed when they have tons of stuff in front of them. The Red Dead Redemption 2 example, I feel, is a scaled down version of what Assassin's Creed Odyssey offered at that same time, because the Assassin's Creed option was we're going to have 50 different types of quests you could be doing, and you'll have different waypoints for all these different things, and they're scattered all over the map, leading to a sense of, oh my god, FOMO, how am I ever going to complete all this? There's tons of stuff to do. Whereas Red Dead Redemption 2 was more streamlined, and there's definitely a main quest with a handful of side quests, but there was also just the life of the cowboy that you could go off and experience that had nothing to do with side quests or missions or anything else. It was like, I'm going to go hunt. I'm going to go trap. I'm going to go look for new mounts. I'm going to go do this and that and the other. So it remains to be seen how they're going to be doing it in Dragon's Dogma 2 here. But what I do appreciate is the idea of having a game that is big enough that you have plenty of things for the characters to do so that they're always feeling like there's something to do. Now, if you're someone like me, you're probably not going to get sidetracked that often. I'm very good at, if I have a quest, I do that quest. I don't deviate. If I find something that's interesting along the way, I'll mark it in a notebook or put it if there's an in-game journal so that I know to go back to that point later on. But I very much am always one-track mind. I'm working on a quest. I'm not going to get sidetracked. We're going to do this quest to completion, and then we'll go off and do the other things that we find along the way. I do appreciate fast travel in a game because here's the thing. If I've traveled between point A and point B 3 times, it doesn't matter to me that you've given me something different in between those 2 points every single time I've gone. At some point, I don't want to have to travel that distance the whole way. Sometimes I want to fast travel. It's kind of like sometimes, when I go to the park, I want to walk. Sometimes I want to run. Sometimes I want to ride a bike. Not every time I go to the park do I want to do the same thing. And here's the thing. Getting to the park means that I have to somehow either walk, run, ride, or drive to the park. Sometimes I don't want to do any of those things. I just want to wake up one morning and magically be at the park. Now, I don't get that option in the real world, so I have to get there somehow. But I do want the option in the video games I play to have fast travel. And we do know that there is a limited form of fast travel in Dragon's Dogma 2 with the fairy stones that you can get. But it does cost a lot to use them, and it's meant to be used sort of like at the end of expeditions so that you're not constantly abusing it and fast traveling all the time. So I can understand the point that he's trying to make and where he's coming from in that people who claim travel is boring, it's only an issue because the game is boring. I feel like that is a blanket statement. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. People find different things that they like to do in video games. Yeah. Going on, he says, we put a lot of work into designing a game where you can stumble across something and something will happen, so while it's fine if it does have fast travel, we decided to design the map in a way that the journey itself could be enjoyed. In the same kind of way in real life that you may deliberately choose to go by bike or by foot when traveling instead of taking faster options. I love the fact that he mentioned this because that's what I was talking about in terms of getting to the park. The first game also didn't have unrestricted fast travel, but I will say that because I picked up the Dark Arisen package on the Xbox, whatever it was, 6 months ago to play it ahead of the first game, I was given as part of the package that I got an unlimited fairy stone that allowed me the ability to go back and forth to the main capital. Well, not back and forth, but I could go to the capital anytime I wanted. And that's not necessarily going to be the case in this game. But one thing they have added is ox carts. So the fairy stones are cool and everything else. They're still going to be here, but now we have ox carts that allow you to go along predefined paths. But the caveat is that you may be ambushed along those paths, and you'll have to defend yourself. Said here in regards to ox carts, the goal wasn't to make a simple method of safe transportation. It's just an additional way to build out the world according to them. It says while riding one, you might find a path blocked by goblins, no choice but to get off and join the battle. Then a griffin might swoop in and destroy the entire cart, forcing you to walk the rest of the way while cursing the griffin. None of that has been set up by us in advance. Instead, there's AI at place to see how things are going to happen. So it's all well and good, but I will say at a certain point, if I have been forced to travel between point A and point B 3 or 4 or 5 times, at some point I'm going to want the ability to use fast travel, and I don't want to be ambushed. I just want to be like, you know what, I'm winding my session down for the day. I want to be able to get there. I should have been allowed the convenience of that after X amount of hours played. There should be no reason why I don't have access to some level of convenience to be able to fast travel back to that waypoint and just easily log out so that I could pick up the next day where I left off. So, I mean, there's also going to be camps in here, which they didn't have in the first game. So there's a lot that we just don't understand in terms of how they're going to be doing their fast travel in this game compared to the first game. But I do like the fact that we do get ox carts, and I do like the fact that they are focused on making a big game that feels like a living, breathing world that's always dangerous no matter where you go. But at the same time, it is a video game, and there's nothing wrong with leveraging fast travel in between all the other things that are going on to allow players the most amount of flexibility when it comes to getting the enjoyment that they want out of the game. Love to hear your thoughts on fast travel. Drop them down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. And don't forget, we're doing daily videos on Dragon's Dogma 2, ramping up towards the launch of the game. I stream daily here and on Twitch. There's a Discord, there's a Patreon, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Stay safe. Links are down below.